Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Professor Miano Shadilika Kakhel from Northwest General Hospital. Today I will discuss about sex education and sex therapy for those people who are going to be married soon and they need to know about various aspects of sex after marriage. So it plays a very crucial role in helping newlywed couples to have their first sexual experience as well as how to lead their future life. Particularly for Asian people and Muslim countries and Muslim people who have no access to sexual education, and there is a scarcity of sex therapists, so all people suffer a lot. Every month we get young couples having problem in consummation as well as leading their happy life. So it is important to have this kind of education. In Western countries, because of having access to sex education and having permission to have premarital sex after 18, so they have no much problem because they select their own family, spouse, and they spend many months or years together before they marry. In our society, because we have arranged marriages and we have marriages to first cousins who have been living with us for years, and we do not develop that kind of attraction as one have for unrelated girls. So it is important to have this kind of education. So what is the importance of sex education? Sex education is important to reduce anxiety and fears about getting married and to have first time sex, because many of the boys have no exposure. Even the girls have no exposure to sexual encounter, and they have a lot of apprehensions and anxiety and fears. Secondly, myths. There are a lot of myths about sex and sexual encounter, which has been created either by friends and colleagues or by watching various sexual encounter movies or porns, which has got very beautiful girls and people with lot of sexual organs, so big organs I mean. So then they have this impression that they do not possess such organs, so they will have difficulty in having sexual intercourse, while the reality is not like that. Secondly, it promotes mutual respect. If they have prior knowledge about sex and marital education, they have all this activity. In Islam, particularly, Islamic scholars have written a lot of books about having how to have a successful relationship with wife, and I will suggest a couple of books. I will make links with that so that those who want to study those books have an access to that. So what are the key topics for sex education? The key topics for sex education is about anatomy and physiology of sexual organs, both male and female reproductive system. So if they have prior knowledge of male and female organs, their activity, their physiology, then they'll have much respect for each other. Emotional readiness for having sexual encounter is extremely important, because both men and women, their sexual activity is strongly under the nervous control, and if that is not in a ready state, there will be a lot of problem in achieving a proper erection, a proper orgasm, and a proper sexual intimacy. Consent and communication. It is important to teach about the right to consent and to dispel this impression that once you have taken someone in your nikah, so you have every right to force for sexual encounter. No, it is not like that. There is a consent, and it should be taken and communicated properly. You both have to be ready and consent before having sexual encounter. Secondly, knowledge about safe sex, for which hygiene is very important. The timings of sex are very important, like sex in periods is prohibited for medical reason and as well as religious reason. So that is very important. Managing expectations. You have to discuss about each other's expectation about this activity. So it is important that you sit down and tell each other about various expectations, particularly from the first sexual encounter. That is extremely important. So, for what approaches you have? Number one, premarital counseling, very important. Both man and woman should go to respective therapist, discuss various things, and take a few sessions to relieve your fears, your anxieties, and misconceptions. Once these are clear, you have a safe approach to go ahead with your sexual encounter. Guided exercises, both physical exercises, breathing exercises, and methods of non-sexual touch and love and encounter, non-sexual. So that will include any type of intimacy which is important. Building emotional and physical intimacy without pressure is very important. You can't force someone to have by force intimacy is not required, and to force someone for immediate intercourse. So that is very important, that you have to produce that respect to take a consent and to build that intimacy for having a safe and pleasurable sexual intercourse. Specific concerns. Every individual couple may have specific concerns about various issues, and that needs to be addressed. There may be financial problem, there may be accommodation problem, there may be career issues, Someone may be in full-time education, they might need to continue their education. Someone might want to leave the education, or whatever concerns they have, you have to address that before that. Then once the marriage happens, the first night comes, so then take your time. There is no hurry to consummate immediately or the first night. If you have full emotional readiness and everything is okay and consent is there, then you can have to consummate. You have to communicate openly, share everything. Family planning, very important, so that you plan your family beforehand. Number of children you want to have, their timings, very important. Create a comfortable environment, very important. If you have a joint family system and you don't have a private area, then try to go for a couple of days for outing and have a private life for a couple of days so that you develop that intimate relationship. So you be patient and be understanding, and do not rush for or force someone for immediate sexual consummation. Very important. Then cultural sensitivity, again very important, or religious sensitivity. In our culture, women do not agree to very intimate exposure, so do not force someone. Try to be respectful for the dignity of your spouse, and try to incorporate all the Islamic principles, which are mutual respect, consent, and loving marital relations. It is very explicitly documented in Islamic principles. So I tried to give some very basic tips in a short lecture, but I hope you subscribe the channel, share the channel, like it, and comment on it. Thank you.